not gonna hit anything. And then ring compressor fell off, but the piston's in the hole. Okay. All right, we're gonna get jamming on the big block for the Highboy. Now, I've got a little holding myself accountable list of all the money that we've put in this thing, and it's looking pretty decent. So with the truck, I'll give you kind of a basic rundown from the last video to now and how we got here. So essentially, we paid $1,000 for a 67 body. We paid $700 for the chassis it's sitting on. And that came with a free, I'm gonna call it a Core 460. It was complete with a belt. It was what was originally a good engine until it was left outside and the rain got to it. You would have a good engine, assuming you bought a truck with an engine. You could have used the FE that was in it, or if you got a 460 that was good, you usually can get away with just using the engine. We're gonna assume in this entire project, you had a truck that had a good motor. I didn't, and even if you didn't, you could have gone down the Facebook Marketplace rabbit hole and probably got yourself something turnkey that would have worked for $500. Now, in the nature of this project, I wanna do it a little bit nicer and kind of push myself to do something that will actually work in the truck, and I don't wanna have to pull it back apart later. So we ended up rebuilding the engine, but doing it on a budget. So we've got all the rotating assembly parts for $300 that were already balanced, hung on a set of forged pistons, got all that stuff done, and that was already ready to go. So I had that, and then brought the block down to JVA, where I spent about $1,100 getting everything machined to accept that rotating assembly. So I'm pretty much in a brand new, I'm gonna call it a brand used engine for about $1,400. It's really not bad at all. So I guess that was the difference from mine to, let's say, the average person. So if you had a $500 engine, I've got like a $1,400 engine. That's really the only difference here. So I got plus or minus $1,000 difference in the budget that you could kind of take out realistically if you had a good motor. That puts us to where we are right now. So now I get to assemble this thing. So in today's video, we're gonna get the entire short block in this thing, get the rotating assembly done, get it all bolted up, see how it turns over, and build ourselves a motor, boys. So let's get into it. It's gonna be a fun one. So the first round of business is to get all the freeze plugs in it. So we had to take all of that stuff out to wash it. So if I don't knock this off the stand, oh boy, you can see there's no plugs in it, but it's all been cleaned. Something that JBA does is they'll clean your motor pretty much inside and out, and then they'll pull the plugs out of it. So that's what we did here. A couple ones we left in. So I gotta put all the block plugs back in it. Then I have to come back and drive the cam plate in the back, and then all of our freeze plugs, which we do have new ones of. And we have washed this thing out. It should be pretty clean, but I'm gonna go ahead and drive those in. I'm gonna show you how we do it. If you don't have all the right tools, because nobody does. All right, so one thing I want to point out also is we've been having a bunch of camera mic issues. I'm pretty sure the jack on this camera is screwed up, so I'm gonna run this mic. Hopefully there's no issues. We're just gonna see that, but if you hear anything weird, it's probably why it's because my camera's dying. But either way, this is our shellac. So this is the gasket sealer that we're gonna use. There's a bunch of different brands of it, but essentially it's just this big, it's almost like pipe glue. And you would essentially be putting this gabagoop on the freeze plug and then driving in with like a socket or something to drive it in. So that's essentially what I'm gonna do. So let's get them in. The biggest thing that I like to try to do is I'll take my freeze plug, which is over here. So you've got your massive freeze plug or whatever size it is. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna get a socket. It's kind of dome shape, but I don't really have obviously a dome shaped socket or the correct driver tool. And you guys probably won't either, so that's fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find a socket that's pretty large that just barely squeezes into the inside of this. This one's probably gonna be it. Okay, so a 1-inch socket fits perfectly on this. So I'm gonna take this, you can see it doesn't really have a whole lot of room to move. It pretty much just sits in there flush. So I can take this, stick it right there. I'll put shellac inside the hole as well as on the actual plug, drive that in with the sealer and make sure I can see the sealer all the way around and just keep it flush. There's a chamfered edge on the block. We're gonna keep it flush right to that chamfered edge. So I'm gonna drive all these things in. Summer's officially here, which means road trips, barbecues, and beach days with your friends. Now you don't wanna let threatening expenses get in the way of ruining all that. So we're taking a break from the engine build. We're gonna go get some fuel for the bullnose, and I'm gonna show you guys how to get cash back on fuel. Using the free Upside app, you can get cash back on gas, food, and essentials, all of things that are more expensive during the summer. And this is cash back on things you're already buying. So gas, food, restaurants, essentials, groceries, things that you're already spending money on, but you're getting cash back now. There are over 100,000 businesses on the Upside app. I guarantee you guys that this cash back just around the corner. There we go. All right, so I know you're probably thinking, how do you earn cash back through the Upside app? Businesses pay to be on the Upside app in the form of advertising. Now, when the Upside sees that you went to that business through their app, they're gonna give you a portion of that ad revenue back. So it's real cash back just by going to the gas station and scanning your receipt. All right, so you can see I have my receipt. I'm gonna scan this on the Upside app and it will see how much I spent. And it'll give me a portion based on how much per gallon cash back this station gives me. Poor guy didn't pay his tow bill. right, well, that guy was getting arrested. I put my card in and it's gonna now verify that purchase and give me cash back on that. And it's 61 cents a gallon at that gas station. And on the receipt, I put in 11.4 gallons. So I'm gonna get a little over $6 back, which is really great. That means every time I put gas in my truck, I should get at least $5 back every single time, which is $5 extra that I didn't have before. And that's cash back directly from Upside directly to me. I can spend on whatever I want. And they have a bunch of different ways for you to redeem that cash in the form of gift cards. They can send it to your PayPal, or you can even deposit it directly to your bank account. I'm using the Upside app specifically because I'm getting cash back on things that I'm already buying. I'm in California, everything's super expensive. So the one thing that helps a bunch is getting cash back for things that I have to buy regardless, like gas, food, and groceries. Top earners are earning as much as $300 a month cash back from Upside. If you want to figure out how you can do that for yourself, I'll have a link down in the description. You can download the Upside app and you can use code Craig and that'll give you 25 cents extra per gallon of gas cash back on your first fill up. Or you can use the QR code on your screen and click right there. You can download the app right there. Again, use code Craig and that'll give you 25 cents extra on top per gallon of gas on your first fill up. So that being said, let's get back to the Highboy engine. Do I have a deep socket? That'd be super cool if I did. Of course I don't. It's the only one I'm missing. Of course. Why would I have the right one? That wouldn't make any sense. Actually, I do have the right one. Then I'm gonna use acetone. You can use brake clean or whatever. I've just got a bottle of it. And then I'm gonna clean all these ports out because I sprayed this. We sprayed this with like an oil coating so it didn't rust. So the last thing you want if you're trying to seal something is an oil coating. It's like if you had oil on your gasket surface. So I'm just gonna clean all of those out. And as you can see on the rag, there's all sorts of poopy on there. So you wanna get all that off. So I'm gonna wipe this thing's butt, clean out all of its holes. Because you never have dirty holes, you know what I'm saying? You know, that's the name of the game. So we're gonna clean all the holes. So we already ran it through the bidet, but you can never trust those things. So here we are. That one I think I'm gonna do separate. Either way, we have our main 6 plugs. So those are now clean and I'm just gonna go for it. We're just gonna let it rip. Same thing on the plug itself. Just clean it off real good. I'm just gonna goop it up. Oh yeah, oh damn. Okay, certified and gabagooped. I'm just gonna drive these in. This guy. Oh man, driving these in straight sucks. You can hear it change once it starts going in. So I heard it change. I'm gonna use the back side of the socket because it's flatter. Okay. And if it's not going in straight, just use the socket and kind of roll it. So I can see this side's a little high. There you go. You can hear it change. Keep going until it's flush. Look at this stupid thing. Bitchin'. That looks great. Sweet. So that's like textbook material right there. So I'm gonna repeat that on pretty much all of them. Make sure they're all in square, which this one looks like it is, but I think it might be a little bit high right here. Like I said, if you could see that sealer all the way around, then you're pretty much good. You guys might have noticed these little boogers. Put a generous amount of lube in there. All right, our next shot is getting all the bearings set. I want to check the bearing clearances and then set the crankshaft in it. This is a pretty standard process. I'll lay these out, then I'll flip them over. Whoa. Gonna clean all the surfaces where the caps go. You don't want these things vibrating around. They're kind of swedged in the way they're cut. So when the cat sits down, it'll rotate and slide into like a channel and that'll keep it tight. But if you have vibration, that's how you can crack a main cap and that's like super not okay. I had that happen on one of my F100's engines due to a machine shop that previously did it a long time ago, different shop, and they line bored it incorrectly. So stay away from line boring if you can. Not the nicest process in the world. The other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna check the rear main seal because my buddy Martin was telling me when he built his that it had almost double the crush allowed squish for that seal than it's supposed to. So we're gonna check all that stuff. Make sure it's all good. All right, then you can see the bearings right here. They're all MS1039 right there. That's a standard bearing for this thing. Comes in a kit. And you've got them all right there and we're just gonna set them in the block. And then I'm gonna torque all the caps down, stick my bore gauge in there, center it, zero it, do all the fun stuff. I can see what oil this thing's gonna want. It's kind of an important part. A lot of people just put the engines together and just let the machine shop do the thing if you're a beginner and you haven't done this before. What I'm doing right now is checking my machinist's work. The contrary to that is we never cut this crank. So assuming this crank is in good shape, these bearings should fit pretty much perfectly. But again, always check everybody's work, even the factories, because as you saw in our machine shop video, which if you didn't watch it, go back because we spent like 2 days in the machine shop with Ethan and did a bunch of badass stuff, making all this stuff work. Check that video out, bring it right here. Also subscribe if you're new. I see a lot of you guys watching this stuff aren't subscribed. So definitely subscribe if you don't want to miss this thing getting back on the road, because we're literally creating a Highboy from scratch. For the under 10 grand, we're gonna do the whole project. I'm very, very excited about it. I want you guys to see the whole thing, so stick around. If I can get this damn thrust bearing out, there we go. And these are the tops for the caps, which I'll leave sealed for right now. I'm gonna mix that. These have a notch in them. You really can't mess it up, so just press it in. And the other thing is you want to make sure, like I cleaned this with acetone, I don't want any oil on the backside of the bearing. Because if you put a lubricant on the backside of the bearing that you don't want it to move, you're going to promote spinning a bearing, which is the last thing you would ever want. All of these other bearings other than the thrust bearing are going to be identical, so you don't really have to pay too much attention to which one goes where. Just make sure that is clean. That's the biggest thing, is making sure everything's clean. No dirty anything in this motor. So take a dirty rag and clean it. I also realized I think I forgot my micrometer, so I don't know how the hell I'm gonna check the bore gauge on this. That's gonna suck. I'll figure it out. The other thing is, if you have a tack rag or any sort of I'm not saying don't use a microfiber, but microfibers seem to leave little bits of felt and stuff like that. So a lot of engine builders freak out when you use a microfiber. It's just, I'm using the tools that most people have. I'm not gonna tell you to go spend and waste money on a specific type of rag just to clean this thing. The biggest thing is just make sure there's not a bunch of lint or anything in all the holes. So I mean, you can use a paper towel, but those like to tear, so I'm just using this. But if you have a more firm rag or something that doesn't have a lot of lint, you can probably use that. So I can see a couple pieces right here. Knock those off, just get them out of the way. You can even take an air compressor and blow them out or something. Press these into the groove, and we're good to go. So just make sure that these are flat. You could take a straight edge and you can hold and press down and make sure they're all good, but this should be good. So the next thing is the same thing on the cap. So I'm gonna just do that because that's boring. All right, so we're getting the rings gapped. You can see I've gone ahead and marked all these. These were pre-gapped rings. So when you get these Hastings rings, these things come pre-gapped, so you still want to check them. It's a good thing I did. So this side I've already finished. I went ahead and I opened up, I think 2 of them, about a half thou or 1,000. So you can see I'm pretty much about a 2 to 3,000 split between them, which is what I want. I would have rather this been about an 18 to 20 thousandths instead of a 20 to 22 thousandths motor, but I think with towing and everything else, it'll work pretty well. But you can see this side, this is the reason you check, because you can look through and you got 21, 22, 22, 22, 22, 23. So these are close, but they need to be open about 2 thousandths, 1 to 2 thousandths on the top ring or the bottom ring. You can see this one, look at the gap. You can see the gap difference between the bottom. Well, these are backwards, so the top ring is actually on the bottom. This other one you can see is actually significantly smaller of a gap. So this one I can't even put any sort of feeler gauge in it, so it's a good thing we actually are gonna open these up. So I'm gonna go ahead and re-gap the secondary ring on these all the way around, match the other side, and then we'll be ready to go. So definitely always wanna check your rings, because you never know when you might have something, even though it says it's right, you always gotta check it, so that's why. But either way, we'll get them all gapped up.
You don't have to check it. He's lying to you. You don't have to. Just run it.
I don't know what I'm doing. Let's work here.
Shit, dog.
Dang, you look like Santa with a silhouette. All right, so we've got everything on the bottom end of this thing mic'd out. All of our bearing clearances landed pretty much between 2 and 3 thousandths, which is checking out to be pretty stout. If I can get this to focus, there we go. Messy handwriting, but you get the point. So 2 and 3 thousandths, 2.5 thou to 3 thousandths, that's where we're sitting, which is good. It's right where I need to be. So everything in the bottom end looks good. That means our crank is looking pretty good. Ethan's doing whatever he's doing.
It's going pretty good over here.
Just hanging out with his bump stick and whatever that is.
That's my green goo.
Okay. But yeah, so that is the cam. So the next step is to put the camshaft in it. You can do it a variety of ways. You know, I've put the rotating assemblies in and put the cam in it later. Ethan likes to put the cam in it first. Do you have a specific reason other than it's easy to grab?
It's easier to put in, and you want it when you test fit the cam, you want to be able to rotate it around and see if there's any hard spots.
Oh, okay.
So I'd like to do that before the crank goes in, just in case there's any cam bearing problems.
Got it. Yeah, that does make sense considering we opted to leave them because they are in pretty good shape. There's really nothing wrong with them, so we figured we'd leave those.
When you brought them into the shop, the cam bearings look fine, so
yeah, might as well just leave them. So we got to do that, and then that leaves us to our cam itself. So we are running a 262H-11 right there. This is one of their extreme 4x4 cams. So this is a 218 at 50 and a 226 exhaust split, and that's a 111 LSA, and that's a 514 lift on a 524 exhaust. So you can see right there, it's going to have a nice grunty low torque curve is what these usually will do. So it'll be good for towing and pretty much everything that this truck would ever do, which is exactly what I wanted. Isn't that right?
Nothing like a tow rig.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing here. So
you can haul the truck to the track and be
yeah,
able to sleep in the back.
yeah, there you go. And we'll go camping in this thing and have a bunch of fun. But either way, so that's kind of the camshaft. With this, I will have the part number to this if you want a little bit more in depth about the specs and everything. Hey, if you could throw on the rags and everything, dude, keep your bump stick to yourself over there.
Sorry, I can't contain myself.
But yeah, I'll have the part number down if you want to check out the cam curve on this. And I am actually writing in together a build sheet that's going to be on our Patreon. So if you are curious on this engine setup, you want a budget build style 460, it's not going to cost a ton of money to build. Should work really, really well and be a nice all-around driver. And you'll be able to tow a trailer with it. I'll have a link down to that. It'll come out on my Patreon. You guys will be the first ones and the only ones to be able to see that build list. So I'll have that there. $5 a month, that gets you access to pretty much everything on there. So yeah, next thing, I guess we got that little bump stick all lubed up. We're ready to stick her in the block. And then I guess from there, we'll see if there's any tight spots.
$5, that's cheap, man. Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it, man. So, and I guess the only thing I might as well point out, one of the risks of this entire thing, this is like the debate of a lifetime, is these right here. I've had so many bad experiences with comp flat tappet lifters, but these are literally the cheapest thing on the market. So I'm gonna play that gamble, but I gotta take a break for a second and watch him put his bump stick in here. Let's get the good angle.
Do you have an oiler? Firmly
grasp it, brother. Careful, SpongeBob. Careful, SpongeBob. Just hit it with a hammer.
No. All right, now we put a bolt in there and see how it turns.
Oh, that's buttery, dude. Good nice. It's a nice bump stick.
If I'm quite honest with you guys, that cam does not fit better than in the factory cam bearings, like the first time they install it. So if they're in good shape and there's no signs of them moving, just use them.
Keep them?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, that's nice.
See, that's hard to get when you put your cam bearings in it.
Because the problem is getting them in straight. Because if one of them's a little bit off, you're gonna have a tight spot, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That's perfect, that's what you want.
Sweet, we did it, brother. Oh!
Good right there.
Dude, do that again, man. That was pretty good. Dang, dude. That's less than 10 in the hole.
For sure.
That's like maybe 5 thou in the hole.
Well, it rocks too, so we'll see what happens.
Not bad for an eyeball measurement, huh? We'll just take about 20 off the top. Just call it a day. If we took 25 off the top, we would have been screwed.
Do you have a thing for the deck? Put it here. It's a little touchy. It's sensitive to. You see that?
Yeah.
I did it to the side that goes.
So it's literally, I was gonna say, what'd you zero it at? 0?
Yeah.
So it's just a little over 10 in the hole?
Yeah.
That's perfect. So well, there's no rings in it, so it's not gonna rock quite that much.
Well, it could when it's under force. 11 and a half. 11.
In the hole?
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's gonna be a mean 13.5 to 1 race engine, brother.
Yeah, that was accurate.
Nice.
I went back and it went to 0.
Sweet. Alright, so we've been jamming on this thing, getting everything ready for the short block, and we've went ahead and hung a piston in this thing. We have no rings on it, but you can just see how nice and smooth this entire rotating assembly turns. It's really nice. We went ahead and measured. The piston is 11 in the hole, which is actually really good for this setup. I mean, we took 20 off the deck initially, and that was just from other recommendations from friends of mine that have built the same motor. They said pretty much no matter when you get a 460, take 20 off the top, and you should be always pretty good. They do like to sit pretty far in the hole. So after that, we have the rotating assembly all laid out. Took taken all the old rings off, tossed those in the trash, and I've started putting together a spec sheet and checking everything. And I'll run through this just a little bit, and I'm gonna have all this stuff, as I said, on a PDF that's a little bit more organized and laid out all into a document on my Patreon. If you wanna check that out, like I said earlier, for $5 a month, you can get access to that. But if you don't, and you want it right here, and well, messy, this is kind of where we're sitting. So right now I'm checking all the rods. All the mains checked out. Those are all, you know, anywhere from 25 10,000s, 3,000s. They're all right where they should be. And then I'm working on the rod bearing clearances right now, checking those. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting it into the vise right here. I'm torquing it down with the new bearing. And then I'm running my gauge in there and checking it. So essentially you have your bore gauge right here. It's already preset. We've preset this to a caliper when we measured on the crank. And then when I just, you know, essentially hold this thing, I can see where it's at. I'm not gonna try to hold and do that because that is really difficult to showcase the number, but either way, you can believe me, what I wrote down is true. So I gotta go through the entire rotating assembly and do all of them. It's kind of my next thing is to go ahead and just check all of these, get all these set. I've already done this one. This is number 1. It's number 2 over there in the vise right now. And we got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, and then 8's in the block. Well, I guess 1's in the block, so either way. So it's all coming out pretty well. I'm gonna go through and just check them all, get all my rod bearing clearances checked, and then from there I can pull this number 1 out, slap all the rings on, finish gapping the rings, and make sure those are all good. And we'll be able to put this entire short block together. I'm excited. Oh, before I forget, the one thing I wanted to open up to a bunch of engine builders that have built plenty of motors in the past, the one thing I wanted to check was this. So I have one of these Mitchell domestic truck books, and this is a really, really good source, actually looking at the books, and you can see right there, as you can see, it says 460, we go all the way down, and then our connecting rod bearing clearances are way smaller than the numbers that I had. So we're looking at 8 10,000s to 15 thousandths, and if you walk over to my spec sheet, I'm pretty much sitting at 20 10,000s or 18 10,000s. This is essentially where I'm at. So mine's a little bit looser, but I talked to Ethan and many other guys, they like to have theirs in that 18 to 22 range. So let me know where you guys are at. What are some experiences that you've had? Do you like yours a little set up a little bit more on the loose side or on the tighter side? What Ethan and I were thinking is because those motors were brand new at the time, that was just their tolerancing back then. Maybe it's different now. Maybe bearing manufacturers are different. But either way, I don't think I've ever built an engine quite that tight before. So let me know your thoughts down below. I'm curious. All right, and here comes the fun parts. We're gonna start putting all the rotating assembly together. I spent the last day, essentially, from last night to now, getting everything mic'd, checked, tolerances checked, making sure it's not gonna just spontaneously combust, because we don't want that. And I had a lot of people telling me, oh, I'm not gonna listen to this guy because he's blown up so many engines. I would love to watch people name one motor I've grenaded on this channel. I've never blown one up. It's the misconception I keep seeing. I've wounded engines. I've never grenaded a motor due to my own mechanical setup or assembly. I've never blown a motor up. So that's a big misconception. So you guys think I keep blowing engines up? It's a joke. It's a joke because I keep pushing them a little bit too far and I have little mechanical issues. Like the closest I've gotten to blowing an engine up was in my F100 when we did the Black Widow video. I chipped the corner of the piston off and I still have it. It's in my office. But that motor ran and I drove it home. Another motor past that had a line bore issue from a machine shop. It cracked a main cap, drove it all the way home, took it apart. I've never blown one up. I've never had a catastrophic failure. That's really hard to do. If you're throwing rods out the side of your block, that's a totally different ballgame. I'm not in that crowd. So every engine I've built has always ran. So that's the one thing I'm gonna say. So this, I've checked it and I've blueprinted this whole setup like I keep saying, and it should theoretically work pretty well. All the ring gaps look good, all the bearing clearances look great. This will be a nice motor. We could put 1540 in it or some cheap oil in it. It should run great. And I'm gonna start stabbing this thing together. So I've got a little booties on it. I want to put these on so you don't scuff the crank. I've got our piston recompressor. Martin let me borrow this. I really do appreciate that. This is from Total Seal, and it's got a 4.3 to 4.45 bore range, which is perfect because this is a 4.4 bore. So this is perfect right in the middle. And these style ring compressors are much more efficient because they don't slip. And it's a billet ring with a hose clamp around it. And those stupid band ones that you get from like Harbor Freight or O'Reilly's, those things will slice the crud out of you. So stay away from those. I hate them. If you want a bad day, cutting your hands, then using brake clean later to clean stuff off and crying, then yeah, just don't do that. So these things aren't that expensive. You can get them on Summit or any other, you know, auto part place. So I'm just gonna slip this in. I've also got the crank at full dwell, so as far down as it can go to give me as much room as I can. And I'm just gonna take this and tap it in with the bottom end of a rubber mallet. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get my hand up in here and make sure and kind of guide this thing in straight. Make sure our ring compressor is also on straight, which it is. And then once I see that the oiling ring goes, which it is, I'm just gonna drive this thing in one shot essentially. So I'm gonna make sure it's not gonna hit anything. And then the ring compressor fell off, but the piston's in the hole. And I'm gonna drive this in. I'm gonna do it on this side so you guys can see number 5. I just had number 1 apart, so I wanna get that one out of the way. So I'm gonna do the other one so you guys can see it. So yeah, let's do that one. All right, so I'm just wrapping up number 1. I've got that one drove in, like I said earlier, so now I've got the cap. I'm gonna set this. You just match your ridges up so you can see the notches are right there. And usually these caps, if you have a good machine shop going through it, or even the factory will stamp the number to which they go, so you're not gonna get them mixed up necessarily. That's gonna be pretty difficult to do. Once you get it on like that, it's pretty much close enough to drive the nuts on by hand. If I can figure out what the heck I did with them. What did I do with my nuts? I lost my nuts. That's not good, you never wanna do that. Oh, there they are. And make sure you got some sort of oil on the threads or something to where it's not going to interfere with the torque reading. You know, so I just put some sort of assembly lube on them or whatever. Doesn't really matter. And then we're just going to slowly torque everything. So I'll get my clean rag, wipe my hands off. Got my torque wrench. These are an ARP. You probably noticed it's got an ARP bolt or nut end on it. So these are actually a rod bolt from ARP that's been pressed in over the stock one. So that was a nice bonus when I bought this on Marketplace. These don't normally come like that. This is a 45 foot-pound torque rating. So I'm gonna do it in stages. I'm just gonna snug it, go back, snug it. And there you go, that one's torqued, and that one's torqued. Just check it a couple times. That's literally all you do. Can't get it much easier than that. And I can take my wrench on the front and roll this thing over one time. Oh yeah, that thing moves real nice. And that's the other thing you wanna look for. So you can see assembly lube is coming out the sides right here. That's what you want. So you wanna see it kind of come out of the sides. That's how you know it's actually all in there. It's working beautifully. Just rotate it around one or two times, and then you should be good to go. And then you're ready to go to the next one. That feels really nice. Man, that is good. There's no tight spots or nothing. It's pretty consistent. Yeah, that's what we want right there. That looks really good. It's gonna be a sweet engine. So yeah, I'm gonna finish that up. I'm gonna do pretty much 5 through 8 just because the camera's on that side and the lighting's better. So we will start there and I will continue going. All right, moving to the next cylinders. I'll just leave it right there so you guys can see everything. I think that's probably a good vantage point. Yeah, I think that'll work pretty good. I have to clean my freaking ring compressor again because I dropped it on the ground. Do you guys like my clean room? You know, sometimes you work with what you got. There's so many guys that, you know, build engines and they're got the stainless kitchen top, workbench, and it's like a freaking doctor's office, like surgeon hospital in there and whatever else. It's like a medical center. You know, as long as you're paying attention, I know the average guy that's trying to build this in their garage is not gonna have the cleanest clean room on the planet. That's why we build these the way that we do, is because it's comparable to the average person. I don't wanna, you know, plus I don't wanna have to set up a clean room every single time I'm putting a motor together. So we just keep it clean and pay attention and you shouldn't have any issues. So now I've got number 5 and I'm gonna offset all of these rings. So I just kind of slap them all on. So now I've got to offset and clock them 180, and I think the other one's like whatever, 180 of each other. You really just want to make sure that pretty much each and every ring is opposed to each other as they're stacked up. So I'm gonna do that. And then you can see this has an arrow pointing forward. Maybe you can, I don't know. There's an arrow pointing forward. And then I will pretty much line that up like that, drive it in the hole just like we did the other one. So I'm gonna get this cleaned and let it rip. Can't forget your green goo, your lube. Don't wanna forget that. Fill up that bearing surface. Can't have too much lube, right? There's no such thing. I don't know, a bearing or an engine or anything. And don't forget to do the sides too, because that's where the 2 rods will rub against each other. So you gotta make sure you're doing that. There's so many things you gotta make sure you gotta do. Just don't forget any of it and you'll be fine. It's just that easy, man. Check it, hold it, drive it, and give her a good little money. That was good. Drive it the rest of the way down. Yeah, that deck clearance is really nice. So you can see rotate it over a couple times. Material coming out the sides. It's good. First gate's pretty much done. Looks really, really good. Yeah, that's really good. That's exactly what I want to see. There's not any dirt in the cylinder. It's super clean in there. So I'm gonna just run through these next ones and get this all done. So we'll just speed run it and yeah, we'll have an engine pretty soon. So we got the rotating assembly pretty much done on this thing and it came out really good. So like I said, everything in this was used. So if you come around to the front, I have basically just cleaned these pistons. They were in a box, they were used. I'll roll this thing over a little bit so you can see. So this thing came out to be about 11 thousandths in the hole, which is good. We took 20 off the deck when I was with Ethan in the machine shop. We were talking about, a friend of mine took 25 off of his deck, so his was probably about 5 in the hole. I don't really think it needed a 0 deck. It's a truck motor. This thing could run on 87. It's not gonna have 12.5 to 1. It's not gonna be crazy. I keep kind of dialing everything back. It's like, we're not going for 7,000 RPM. We're going for something that works. So that's what we're going for. And this thing should work really, really well. You can see it rolls over very nicely. It's very smooth, which is nice. It's consistent. You can hear the steel rings. Those are really, really tight and everything looks good. All the gaps are consistent. It was a pre-gap set of rings. Everything was budget. You know, nothing was, you know, super baller, super expensive. It was all Facebook Marketplace stuff and just generic wholesale, you know, rings and bearings. It was nothing crazy, nothing special. So on the front, you can see this is a used timing chain. This is in pretty good shape. It's got a little bit of play. I don't even think this is a degree of advanced or retard if it had any sort of slop. I mean, one way or another, I'm really not seeing. You can see it's still tight. There's no play and it's going forward or backward, which is good. So and the bottom end of it, the nice thing, as I pointed out earlier, is these are hung on stock rods. So someone had spent the money previously to have ARP rod bolts or rod studs and nuts put in this, which is really nice, on a set of forest pistons. So all that stuff, like I said, was 300 bucks. So you never know when you can find it. You know, like I said, go in your friend's shop, go in their attic, go in their shelves, go in their boxes and find stuff. You might find something really cool. Just go on Marketplace, you might find it. There's tons of stuff on Marketplace all the time. So definitely look for parts before you go and buy it brand new, because you never know what you might find. So with that, the rotating assembly is done. So we're in the next video, we're gonna wrap up the short block. I've got to do the front cover, which I have from my friend Martin, which he donated, which was very nice. We're gonna put that on, seal it all up, get the rear main and everything fixed, and do the cam plug, and then work on those cylinder heads. So that is our next thing where we get to dive into those. I'll show you guys how to do a quick, fun, little budget-friendly, I guess budget-friendly rebuild. It's not gonna be a rebuild. All the machinists get really offended when I call it a rebuild, even though it's not. I'm not cutting the valves or doing all these crazy things with the guides. It'll be an easy refresh, if that's what you want to call it. But either way, we'll get that whole thing done. Hopefully the motor will be mostly done, if not the long block in the next video. But either way, hope you guys learned a thing or two. Drop a like on the video if you did enjoy. What do you think down in the comments below? Grab your shirts, 99speedcompany.com. Don't miss out on it. If you want to see these videos ad-free, you can check out the Patreon right here. I'll have all the good stuff down in the description below. And don't forget to grab the Upside app. Start earning cash back. It's free money, you guys. So definitely go check that stuff out. With that being said, see you guys in the next one. Later.